I would say at least a few sessions before we can get to any sort of finality or resolve about what the child or adolescent should do. But they're brought in by their parents who might be having the affair because they're failing their classes. They've gone from A, B students to making D's and F's. They started abusing drugs. They've been cutting on themselves, self-mutilating. So the priority is my priority is to care for that child or adolescent or whoever it is that comes in. Sometimes the cheated on partner could be engaging in those behaviors or whatever. They're about to get fired because they're not performing at work. So stabilizing them and giving them what they need personally is my first priority. It might take 2, 3, 4 sessions, and then we could get into what they're going to do about the other person.
Do you find, for instance, that drug abuse or alcoholism, eating disorders have a relevance as it relates to infidelity and what's going on in the home or with each individual? Because you talked a lot about depression also, and I see depression and infidelity as really a double-edged sword. Depression causes infidelity, and infidelity certainly can cause you to be depressed.
Most definitely.
And do you see a lot of depression in your practice as it relates to that?
I do. I have a couple of patients that are going through infidelity, and in the past they've come in with that primary issue. And you're right. It's a two-way street. Anxiety can cause depression. Depression can cause anxiety. And like you said, when people get very depressed or lonely, they often reach out to someone else and for a need that's not getting met in their relationship or marriage, and they cheat.
Interesting. I know I was listening all over the news this week is Elizabeth Edwards' new book coming out. I think it's out now. It's called Resilience. I love the title of the book, Resilience, and that's certainly what she had to be. And when you talk about depression and all the substance abuse, etc., all the different things that can go into really damaging our mental health, and we look at John Edwards, and in just a very, very short period of time, almost the blink of an eye, his entire career is gone and ruined, and people just really don't think about that. And I was thinking about all the political wives standing by their husband, as I believe Elizabeth Edwards is still doing. Do you happen to see, living in Las Vegas, and I just happen to be thinking of this, various celebrities that might come to you for whatever reasons? I know that when you and I talked, you also have done a lot of work in alcoholism and drug abuse. And I was just wondering the types of patients that you do get and where they come from, and your take on all these political wives who stand by their husbands and really probably want to do a lot more than stand there. And do you have people, ordinary, everyday people, that will come to you and really are so unhappy and depressed and sad over this? Would you say your patient load is a small amount of infidelity, a larger amount, not many people at all that actually share it, or they come in with a different presenting problem? It's actually divulged much later.
Well, of course, confidentiality is of utmost concern, so I can't share specific, people, or no matter how high profile they are, that I'm actually treating. But most of my patients have problems with anxiety, their mood, and depression or substance abuse. But since I'm office-based, outpatient only, and I don't go to the hospital anymore, the vast majority are high-functioning, independent professionals and executives.
Listeners, this is 970 KNUU. It's Infidelity Talk with EJ. Of course, I'm EJ. That's no surprise. And we've been talking to Dr. LaRusch. He's here today to help us. He's a practicing psychiatrist in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he's talking about a topic that is soaring, still very controversial, very provocative, and that is infidelity. And we're going to be right back and find out what Dr. LaRusch feels society needs to do to view and treat this very differently. Be right back.
I remember my father was a particularly strong man. His health seemed perfect, at least to the eyes of a 7-year-old. But then he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. 3 months later, my dad, Michael, died. I'm Jennifer Landon. Today we know a lot about preventing cancer. If you smoke, quit. Eat more vegetables and fruits. Have more vegetarian and vegan meals. These steps are powerful for you and your whole family. For more information, call 1-866-906-WELL or visit cancerproject.org.
Infidelity and You, written by EJ, is a recovery guide for anyone serious about changing their circumstances. She shares what infidelity is all about and its many sides. Additionally, EJ explores the different kinds of love triangles and the consequences you inherit when your love triangle gets crowded and squeezed with someone other than your spouse or your long-term committed partner, where the 12-step process for grieving and healing from betrayal can also be found. For more information, visit her website at infidelitytalk.com and browse EJ's bookstore.
First, there was the lost generation. Then came the greatest generation, followed by the silent generation, the me generation, and Generation X. Now comes the overscheduled, overprotected, hyperparented generation. 3 out of 4 of whom are riding in car seats that aren't being used correctly. The latch system is in most cars and makes it easier to be sure your child's car seat is installed correctly. Just clip it to the anchors, attach the top tether, and pull the straps tight. To find out more, visit safercar.gov. Anchor, tether, latch. It's the next generation of child safety for the next generation. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
How do you manage the passion and pain created by infidelity? One way that works is to invest in your journal, tailored for your particular situation. Each day, you reveal aspects of yourself to others in your personal relations with family and friends, as well as your work relationships. They see you as you control how you want them to see you, by the mask you decide to wear on that particular day. How often do you dare to take a look inward? Your journal gives the perfect opportunity. There's no right or wrong answers, just your story. The more honest and open you are with the process, the more helpful your journal will be as you begin your private act of courage. For more information, please go to infidelitytalk.com and click the bookstore.